In one sentence, I and many other people would suggest a good age to try psychedelics for the first time is between 23 to 25 if you have good, solid, stable mental health. But to go into this topic a bit deeper for those people who are interested, I think it's good for us to first acknowledge that you are, as a young person, researching this question of if you are ready for psychedelics or not and what is a good age. And that is a fantastic, fantastic sign, because regardless of age, it is very, very, very important to treat psychedelics with the respect that they deserve. And researching this question is a fantastic start. So for many people, when you're young, maybe you read some trip reports, or maybe you see some psychedelic art. There is this really strong curiosity towards what these states of consciousness are. And it's natural that you are curious. But in this video, I'm going to suggest that although it is admirable to want to access these divine, profound states of consciousness, it is even more important when you're young to build a really solid foundation for the rest of your life so that you can not only touch the stars briefly, but so that you can build a pyramid reaching to the stars and connect with that divinity permanently and serve other human beings and liberate your own spirit through that process. So what is the main problem with taking psychedelics when you're too young and maybe a teenager? So I think the honest truth, from my perspective anyway, is that if you take psychedelics at a young age, things are probably not going to go disastrously wrong straight away. Even though people may want to scare you away from psychedelics, probably it's going to be more subtle than that, the effect it has on you in the long term. And let's look now at why it's more optimal to focus on other things when you're young as opposed to psychedelics. So the basic core of the issue is when you're young and in your adolescent years, your most intense, powerful, and pivotal moments that give you fulfillment and love are probably going to define your self-identification and your trajectory in life. So just as a few quick examples, if you are someone who goes traveling when you're young, then probably that sense of adventure and that sense of being open to other cultures is going to remain with you for your whole life, and that is a very valuable thing. Or maybe if you focus on your studies a lot and get good grades when you're in school or university or college, then this identification that you have with intellectual activities and being smart is probably going to stick with you for your whole life, and that's going to allow you to engage with all sorts of mental challenges and just be in service of you for your whole life if you feel like you're smart. Or as the last example, if you get into fitness and sport when you're young, then you will probably form a self-identification that you are physically able and that you go and take on challenges in life and that you succeed and win and sometimes fail, but that's okay because you can deal with failure. All of those things, when you do them when you're young, are really valuable self-identifications that you form. Now, if you take psychedelics when you're young, if you take a proper dose, they are almost certainly going to be very intense, very powerful, and your mind and nervous system are going to find that to be meaningful and deep, and you're going to experience love through psychedelics. And love is a fantastic thing, but it's better to not get your love from a drug ultimately. When you're young, try to establish other means of finding love from the world through family, through friends, through personal relationships, through work, through serving other people, and many, many ways that you can find your own identity. But attaching your identity to psychedelics and the psychedelic culture is probably not too wise. Psychedelics are very, very good at actually dissolving identifications, and the breakthrough states of consciousness that you experience through psychedelics can be integrated into all aspects of your life. But it is probably not the best if your whole life, the most meaningful moments of your life, are just about psychedelics, because then you're not going to be a fully fleshed human with a lot of different life experiences. So, what do you do then instead of try psychedelics? What do you do with your teenage and early 20 years? And that's not a boring question. There are very, very, very amazing things you can do that will be both exciting and that will build such a solid base for your pyramid that you will eventually be reaching the stars with. So, there's so many, but let's start with travel. Every single person that has traveled as a young person will recommend it to other young people. Because the reason I think it's so valuable is you right now feel like you kind of know who you are, but it's in a certain setting. If you go traveling, you take yourself and put yourself in a totally different environment, and that allows you to discover who you are in that new, different way. And every time you go traveling, you find yourself in a different way than you did before. Okay? Also, as a young person, you're probably going to start working, and there is, of course, a lot of financial success if you specialize in life. But when you're very young, I think it's good to try multiple jobs, work in different industries, because that's just generally good life experience. And again, you can find yourself in these different environments. Also, if you are interested in these mystical sorts of visuals and mystical sorts of dimensions and really into spirituality, then I would recommend trying lucid dreaming for a few years, because lucid dreaming is very, very exciting. There is maybe more potential through lucid dreaming than through psychedelics. Some people are very talented at lucid dreaming. Maybe that's you once you put some focus into it. And you can try some different techniques. You can try some dream teas. And exploring with lucid dreaming really can be a really good preparation for later trying psychedelics, because there are quite some similarities there. Also, the thing I would recommend most of all, it's the most valuable thing you could do for your life in all dimensions, in all aspects of life, is to start a really solid spiritual practice. There are many options. I would recommend mindfulness as taught by Shinzen Young, or yoga as taught by Sadhguru. In particular though, if you really want to go deep in life with spirituality and with opening your heart, then Kriya Yoga is an absolutely very, very underrated and very, very powerful form of spirituality. If you do Kriya Yoga for 2, 3, 4, 5 years before you start taking psychedelics, man oh man, that's going to open up such different dimensions than most people experience with psychedelics. Kriya Yoga is all about the sort of removing the veil of illusion, and when you do it sober, it's more subtle, but when you start combining with psychedelics, you start to realize how powerful the sober practice of Kriya Yoga is. And if you do Kriya Yoga for 5 years and then start getting into psychedelics, you're probably going to be experiencing the most deepest, profound aspects of human potential that people have really come across. You will probably be experiencing things that Jesus Christ experienced. You will experience nirvana as the Buddha taught it. You can experience God one-on-one, one as one. Kriya Yoga is the most definitive thing I could recommend you get into as a young person, or if that doesn't resonate with you, just any sort of generic spirituality, because very many good, solid spiritual practices, they lay a really good foundation for your pyramid, and that will serve you so well later in life in all dimensions. So that's pretty much everything I've wanted to say, but as a tangent, we just must clarify that this question of age, and I'm recommending around 23 to 25 is a good time to start with psychedelics. That only applies if you are of solid, stable mind, and if you have mental struggles, maybe with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or paranoia, then perhaps, just as a genuine answer, it might be best for you to not get into psychedelics at all in this lifetime. If you do decide that you want to use psychedelics, maybe as a form of healing, maybe you have depression, definitely psychedelics can be useful for that. But for other issues like schizophrenia, let's say, for example, it can be very, very risky to use psychedelics. And it has been known to trigger schizophrenia in people as well. Psychedelics can trigger schizophrenia, especially if you're at a young age. So be careful if you have doubts about your own mental health. If you do proceed, first build a support structure around you with people that care about you, and start at a later age, I would recommend, and start with lower doses and ramp up really, really slowly. But it is a risky thing to do. And really the question of mental health and psychedelics is a different topic entirely. Everything I've said in this video applies to people who are generally stable in their mental health. Also, to conclude now, pretty much, I've given you my take on the topic, but I'm going to include sort of in the credits here some 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph answers from other people that, they've had their own life journeys. Many of these anecdotes are from people that tried psychedelics at a young age, and their personal life story and their wisdom from having gone through that is really valuable. So don't listen to just me. Go look up more people's opinions on the internet if you like, or just simply read some of these anecdotes at the end of the video. And again, just to reiterate, you're a young person now, presumably watching this. Your life can be so exciting, so deeply fulfilling that it's beyond probably your imagination right now. But that is if you treat psychedelics with respect and if you build a solid foundation for your life. As a young person now, it's the time to lay the foundations for this pyramid, and then one day reach up into the stars, bring that divinity into your body, into your life, liberate your spirit. You personally can liberate your spirit. You can taste enlightenment, and then you can serve the other conscious human beings or any conscious beings around you so more effectively and powerfully that it's just going to blow open your heart how deeply you can serve people and just how profoundly beautiful all of life can be. That's my wish for you. So please go pursue that in a responsible way. Build the foundation of your pyramid. That can be an exciting journey in itself for you to undertake.